Hey there, welcome to our channel. Today we're looking at The Were Rider by Witi, Ihimaera. In a world that expects silence from girls, Cow speaks with the voice of the ancestors and the whales listen. In Witi Mahera's The World Rider, traditions stand like a wall, unshakable, deeply rooted and often blind to change. Within this rigid structure, leadership is believed to belong only to men, passed from father to son, as it has been since the time of the great ancestor Paikea. But Kahu, a young girl born in the family bound by this patriarchal thinking, dares to challenge that silence. Although her community and especially her grandfather dismiss her for being female, she carries something far greater than they expect: the spirit, wisdom, and the strength of the ancestors. Her voice, long ignored, becomes the only one powerful enough to reach the ancient wells who symbolize both history and identity. Through Kahu, Imahera redefines what it means to lead, showing what true authority comes not from gender or tradition, but from love, courage, and spiritual connection. In this novel, it is the girl everyone overlooks who saves the tribe, reminding us that sometimes the future speaks through the voices we refuse to hear. Witi Mahera's novel The Were Rider is a moving and multi-layered novel that blends contemporary family life with ancient Maori mythology. It tells the powerful story of a young girl, Kahu, who fights to be accepted in a world where tradition dictates that only males can lead. Through this character-driven narrative, Ihimaera challenges outdated customs, explores the theme of leadership, and redefines the sacred bond between people and nature. The novel is a celebration of indigenous identity, feminine strength, with a strong spiritual dimension rooted in Maori culture. The story is set in Wangara, a coastal village on New Zealand's North Island. The Wangara Maori tribe believes they are descendants of the legendary ancestral Paikea, who is said to have escaped death at sea by riding to safety on the back of a giant whale. Paikea is not just a mythical figure. He represents the tribe's origin, their history, and their spiritual identity. For generations, tribal leadership has been passed down through the male line, with each chief expected to carry the spirit of Paikea forward. However, modern challenges such as urbanization, the loss of tradition values, and the questioning of gender roles begin to test the strength of this ancient system. This is the world Cow is born into. That is, a community rich in heritage but struggling to adapt. The story begins with the birth of Cow Apirana, the firstborn of the chief's eldest son, Paraurangi. However, her birth is not met with celebration. Her grandfather, Koro Apirana, is deeply disappointed because Kahu is a girl. He was hoping for a male heir to inherit the title of chief and carry on the sacred line of Paikea. To Koro, leadership is not just about power. It is a spiritual responsibility, and he believes it must rest with a boy. From the very beginning, Cow faces rejection. Her father, grief-stricken over the death of his wife during childbirth, leaves the country to travel abroad. Cow is left to be raised by her great-grandparents, that is Koro and Nanny Flowers. While Koro ignores Cow or treats her coldly, Nanny Flowers gives her unconditional love and secretly believes that Cow is special. Despite her grandfather's constant disapproval, Cow grows up loving him fiercely. She tries in every way to earn his attention and respect by bringing him gifts, attending tribal ceremonies, and learning the Maori language and customs with dedication far beyond her years. Cow represents the new generation, that is respectful of tradition but ready to challenge unfair customs. Koro, meanwhile, becomes obsessed with finding a male successor. He organizes leadership lessons for the village boys, teaching them tribal law, language, and history. He excludes Cow entirely. Even when she outshines the boys in the knowledge and wisdom, this only deepens the emotional gap between them. The tension between the old ways and the new quietly builds. Koro's resistance to change blinds him to what is right in front of him. Kahu is the true heir, not by gender but by spirit, courage and connection to the ancestors. The novel narrator is Rawiri, Kahu's uncle. He offers both a personal and cultural perspective, acting as a bridge between the spiritual and the ordinary and tradition. Acting as a bridge between the spiritual and ordinary and the tradition and the modern. In the middle of the novel, Rawiri takes a journey to Australia and Papua New Guinea. This subplot shows how Maori identity can be diluted when one moves away from cultural roots. Rawiri experiences racial tensions, spiritual confusion, and homesickness. His travel makes him realize the importance of preserving culture. When he returns, he is more committed to supporting his people, especially Kau, in the face of ongoing conflict between past and present. The story reaches its emotional climax with a mysterious and symbolic event. A pod of whales beaches itself on the shore near Wangara. For the Maori, whales are sacred beings, messengers of the gods and ancestors. Their arrival signals that something is wrong in the spiritual realm. The community comes together to try to save the whales, but nothing works. Even Koro is unable to understand why the whales have come or how to help them. As the tribe prepares for mourning, Kau steps forward. She feels a deep spiritual connection to the whales, especially the largest bull whale, which the novel describes in mystical detail. In a miraculous moment, Kau rides the whale in the sea, just like the ancient ancestor Paikea. Her journey is dangerous and nearly fatal, but it proves that she is the true heir to the tribe's legacy. The whales follow her back into the ocean. Saved from death, she becomes the new whale rider, just like Paikea before her. After Kau is rescued and brought back from the ocean barely alive, Koro undergoes a profound transformation. He finally sees what others have known all along. That is, Kahu is the rightful leader. Her love, courage, and spiritual strength make her the perfect person to carry on the legacy of Paikea. The reconciliation between Kau and Koro is deeply emotional. He apologizes, recognizes her importance, and embraces her as the tribe's future. The novel ends on a note of hope that the ancient tradition can survive, but only if we are willing to evolve. Through Kau, tradition and progress come together. The Whale Rider is not only just a coming-of-age story, it is a bold and beautiful reimagining of tradition. Witi Ihimaera uses Kau's journey to explore the challenges facing indigenous culture as they try to balance their past with modern values. Through Kau, we see the true leadership is about compassion, understanding, and spiritual strength, not gender or age. The novel teaches us that the culture must grow, and sometimes it is the most unlikely person who carries the future. Kau is the voice of the future, riding the tide of change with love, strength, and unshakable faith. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.